My name's Kirk. More importantly, I'm Ty's dad. And I'm here to talk to you guys this evening about Ty. I want to tell you what happened to him, and I'm hoping that by doing that, you guys can help me make sure that this doesn't ever happen again to another kid or another family. I need to warn you guys about something though. I'm not a public speaker. What I am is a construction worker. And what I'm going to tell you about I feel real strong and passionate about. And so I got a favor I need to ask you. We had a group of kids from Oklahoma City heard about what happened to Ty, and they started a group called Stand for the Silent. And they've got a hand sign that they use. It's this right here. You guys know what that means? It's the International Sign Language symbol. It means I love you. But to us, we use it a little different. To us, it doesn't just mean I love you. It means I support you. It means I got your back. So if you guys see me having a hard time, if you'll just throw one of them at me, I'll try real hard to get through it, okay? All right? Yes. All right. We can talk, guys. You know, I hope you can learn something from me this evening. But even more than that, I'm hoping that I can learn something from you. I'm hoping that you can teach me that there are other people in this world besides me and a handful of kids called Stand for the Silent that actually care about others. See, 677 days ago, I left for work at 4:30 in the morning. My wife, Laura, our little boy, Ty, they left the house a couple hours later to go to school. My wife worked at the school my boy went to. She took that job so she could be near our son. She could be off work the same day he was out of class. My wife and my baby, they were best friends. Man, they were together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On that particular day, Ty was sitting in the gym with his best friend. He was waiting on class to start. This kid that had been picking on him for over 2 years. He came up and started picking on him again. I guess Ty finally had enough. He retaliated. You know what happens when you retaliate? Second guy always gets caught, don't he? See, the bully gets to plan his move. He gets to look around and see where all the teachers are. He waits until nobody's looking. Goes up and does whatever it is he's going to do. And the victim? They just react. Disturbance draws the teacher's eye. They look over and they see that second guy take the swing every time, huh? Happens in sports all the time. Second guy gets a flag thrown on him, don't he? And that's what happened to Ty. He retaliated. He got caught. He was suspended for 3 days, and they called his mama. She went and picked him up, took him home. They were short-handed at work that day, and Laura had to go back. She told Ty to do his homework. Told him to do his chores. Told him we'd talk about it when we got home that evening. My wife came home at 2:38 p.m. on May 13th. She found out that Ty didn't do his homework. Didn't do his chores. Instead, our baby had killed himself on our bedroom floor. I got a phone call at 2:39. Caller ID said it was Laura. I answered. She was screaming. Just screaming. Couldn't understand a single word she was trying to tell me. She just screamed and screamed. Finally, I screamed back at her and told her, "Honey, you got to stop. Tell me what's going on." And she managed to say, "He's dead. He shot himself." I asked her who. And she said, "Ty." You know, since that day, Laura and I, we've talked to families all over our world of kids that have done this same thing. I got a list of over 800 children that have taken their own lives because of being bullied. Laura and I have talked to over 250 of those families in person. January 21st, 2010, this little guy right here, man, he was 9 years old. His name was Montana Lance. He lived in a place called the Colony down in Texas. Montana retaliated against a bully, been picking on him all year long. Second guy always gets caught too, huh? Montana was sitting in the office waiting on his mama Debbie, his daddy Jason, to come and pick him up, take him home. He asked if he could go to the bathroom. They let little Montana go in the nurse's bathroom. The only one in school had a lock on the door. And 9-year-old Montana Lance took off his own belt and hung himself in the nurse's bathroom. You know, Laura and I, we had this little meeting out at our house here a while back. We lived down by Stillwater, Oklahoma, out in the middle of nowhere. Then we invited literally everybody we could think of to come out and help us figure out a way that we can make sure that this never happened again to another baby or another family. We had about 30 people show up. There was this young mother from Stillwater, Oklahoma. She came, she was telling me about her 6-year-old daughter being picked on all last school year by a 5-year-old little boy. This little 5-year-old boy even took a pair of scissors, crawled underneath the table where this little 6-year-old girl sat, and cut this baby's dress all the way around while she sat there afraid to move. Her mama brought the dress out to my house, showed it to me. Had 1 week of school left last school year. This little 5-year-old boy told this 6-year-old girl, last day of school, "I'm going to bring a gun to school. I'm going to kill you." Next morning, little Gina woke up and she was crying. She told her mom, "Mama, I don't want to go to school today." Mom said, "Baby, are you sick?" "No, ma'am, not sick." "Well, Gina, if you're not sick, you've only got a week left of school. You really need to go." Next morning, Gina woke up crying again. She told her mom, "Mama, please, don't you make me go to school today." Mom said, "Gina, honey, it's almost over. Couple more days." 3 days left in school last school year. And that morning, little Gina woke up and she wasn't crying anymore. She looked at her mom and said, "Mom, I'm not going to school today. I'll just kill myself instead." She was 6 years old. Mama was kind of caught off guard. She didn't really know what to say. She said, "Gina, why would you say that? How would you even do that?" Gina told her mom, "Mom, I know exactly how I'd do that. I'll crawl up the shelves in Daddy's bedroom closet, I'll get his deer rifle down, and I'll shoot myself instead of letting that bully." She was 6 years old, and she had a plan on how she would take her own life. That list of 800 kids I told you I got? And the youngest one on it was 6 years old. His name was Matthew. Matthew Bibby. He's from Great Britain. Matthew will be 6 years old forever. Forever. You don't get any older when you die, guys. You still have birthdays. But you don't get a year older. And your family? We cry all day long on that day. You know, I got this buddy of mine. His name's Matt. Man, I love Matt. Matt's my friend. Matt loves me. Matt's got this little habit, though. He likes to call people nicknames. You know, he thinks they're funny. He thinks they're cute. Matt's nickname for me was always worthless. Matt didn't really think I was worthless. It's just something he said. You know, he'd call me on the phone. He'd say, "Hey, worthless, what are you doing?" One day, not very long ago, I was feeling pretty worthless. And Matt called. You know, Matt doesn't call people nicknames anymore. He learned that day what one word can do to somebody if it catches them at the wrong time. Because I know we're not perfect. I ain't even asking you to try to be. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to mess up. What I'm asking is when we do that, man, we got to learn to go back and apologize. Believe me, it can make a lifetime's worth of difference to somebody. You know, the day after my boy killed himself, they were telling jokes about it at his school. Ty's best friend got the living daylights pounded out of him because he heard those jokes. And he went up, tried to defend my kid. My boy's mom heard those jokes. I heard them. How funny you figure that one was. Guys, I realize it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to be the one in a group of your own friends that can stand up and say, you know what? That's not right. That ain't funny. How'd you like it if it was your friend? Your little brother? Your son? It's a whole lot easier just to laugh and go along with the rest of them, isn't it? You know, nowadays, more than reading and writing and arithmetic, I think maybe it's time that we all learn respect for others, tolerance for differences, and how to be the difference in somebody else's life. And you got to be the one that's willing to be that difference. And you got to be the one that can go up to that new kid in town, that different kid. But you know what? You can be somebody's hero. You can change somebody's whole world. Stand for the Silence was started by 68 high school kids from the Oklahoma City area. They didn't know us. Those kids didn't know my boy. They heard about what happened to Ty. Them babies decided they'd had enough. They weren't going to put up with this happening anymore in their world without them doing everything they could to make it stop. Man, I have met every single one of them 68 kids. Heather, I've hugged their necks. You know what they taught me? Man, they come from all walks of life. They're red and yellow and black and white. But they all got one thing in common. They all treat each other with love and respect. Man, they all got each other's back. I've seen that with my own eyes. I ain't going to stand here and lie to you. Those kids don't all get along. They don't always like each other. But they always, always love and respect each other. You know what that tells me? That tells me that this is a doable thing. It's doable. If those 68 kids from so many different backgrounds can learn to love and respect each other, any group of humans can learn it. It's doable. Before we learn to respect others, though, we've got to learn to respect ourselves, don't we? I ain't going to stand up here and tell you guys that you got to like everybody. Not everybody's going to like you. All I'm trying to say is we all have the right to be here. Every single one of us has the right to be who we are. I'll read you guys a few notes some of Ty's classmates left for his mom and I after he died. I'll always remember his laugh. It was the funniest laugh I've ever heard. It always made me smile and laugh. He'll always be in my memories. I'll always remember Ty's huge smile across his face. I knew that if I was having a bad day, I'd see Ty on 7th hour, and his smile and laugh would change my day. He always had this great big smile on his face. He always had a funny joke to tell. He was always having a good time with his friends. Ty was always so kind to me. He'll never be forgotten in my heart. I'm sorry for your loss. I'll pray for you and your family. I always remember Ty wearing his camo jacket. He always seemed to be very happy, very energetic. That was one of my favorite things about him, that he could always be happy without trying to be. He always talked about hunting. He knew everything about it. I'll always miss him. I'll never forget him. Here's some notes that some of Ty's teachers wrote and left at the funeral home for his mama and me. I could count on Ty to always greet me with a smile and a "Hello, Miss Burton," whenever I saw him. He'll be missed so very much. I'll forever remember Ty's smiling eyes and freckled face. He ran past me Wednesday on playground duty and hollered, "Hi, Miss Hughes." He was such a friendly young man. I feel blessed to have gotten to know him. I've spent a year in the classroom with him. Thank you for sharing him with me. He'll never be forgotten. Ty always had that big, beautiful smile beaming across his sweet little face. I'll never forget that smile, his laughter, or his stories. He had an inner light that would brighten even the darkest of rooms. That light will never truly extinguish, because it will always continue to shine within our hearts and all of our memories, now and forever. I love you, Ty. You are now God's angel, and heaven is blessed to have you. I was blessed to have known you. You notice anything in common with all those? Every single one of them talk about that boy's smile. That kid was always smiling. He was always trying to brighten somebody else's day. You know, the last 4 years of his life, that boy had been on a mission. And he wanted to go up to Wyoming, hunt antelope with me. You got to be 12 years old, hunt big game in the state of Wyoming. And this past summer, Ty, he was finally going to get to be old enough in time for opening day. Man, he was proud. He went around bragging to all his buddies that he was finally going to get to be old enough to go up to Wyoming with his old man and kill himself a turbo goat. Even picked out a spot on his bedroom wall. Showed all his friends right exactly where that antelope was going to hang. Me and Ty, we sat down at our dining room table on March 8th. And we filled out his tags. We sent in his money. My boy killed himself on May 13th. His birthday was June 16th. Got his antelope tag in the mail July 10th. His mama and I, we sat down, we talked about it. We decided we had to go up to Wyoming. We had to bring home his antelope, put it on his wall where he'd promised it was going to be. It's kind of hard for me to admit. I'm supposed to be a great big bad hunter, you know. And my little wife, she outshoots me. Sucks. She does it consistently too. I mean, we got like 60 or 70 shoulder mounts literally on our walls at the house. And all of the big ones belong to Laura. It's disgusting. And true to form, we're up in Wright, Wyoming this past October, and Laura, she killed one of the biggest antelope we ever took off that ranch up there. Got this buddy of mine, he's my taxidermist. Pretty much paid for his house with my bill. Man, he hand painted a set of blue eyes. He called them Thai blue. He mounted him in that goat. And it's hanging on my baby's wall where he'd promised it was going to hang. You know, guys, Laura and I, we've learned an awful lot these past few months. We've learned a lot of things that you guys really ought to know. We learned that suicide is the second leading cause of death in our kids in America, ages 10 to 24 years old. It's second only to car wrecks. Most people think suicide's caused by depression. And if you're depressed, somebody can just look in your eyes, look at your face, see that you're hurting. That you're fixing to do something bad to yourself. Don't you guys know something? That's not always true. That boy right there, he wasn't depressed 1 minute in his entire life. He was smiling and joking and laughing with his mama and the women she works with. The morning he took his own life. Kids that are being bullied, oh, they learn to hide it real well. They get to where they even quit telling people about it because it just seems like it makes the bullying get worse. Got a question for you. How many of you in here right now ever been picked on, bullied? Put them up. Look around you. I love you. You are somebody. Got another question for you. This is a little harder. This is kind of tough. How many of you in here right now are bullies? I love you. You are somebody. You notice anything there? See how little work we got to do? We got all these victims. You're telling me we got 2 kids in here doing the bullying? Them some busy people. Oh, and man, nowadays, there's so many different ways that you can bully somebody too, ain't there? You can bully somebody with a look. You can bully somebody with one word. You can bully somebody with an action. Thanks to that wonderful world of technology. Yeah, you can bully somebody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with an email, an instant message, a text message, post on Facebook. You know, you can even bully somebody with exclusion, not letting them be a part of your group. In all your lives, you guys have had numbers thrown at you. Percentages and statistics. Here's something else I've learned lately. In America right now, 1 out of every 4 kids, 25%, 1 out of 4, will not only think about suicide, they'll actually have a plan on how they would take their own life before they graduate high school. 1 out of 4? Thai school had 1,300 kids in it. Man, that's 350 babies in one school that would actually have a plan on how they'd take their own life before they graduate high school? Look around you. 1 out of 4 kids in here right now tonight would have a plan? There's no way I let that number stand. And we got to change that. We got to make that stop. These aren't numbers we're talking about, guys. They're not percentages. They're not statistics. They're people. They're smiling little freckled faces. They're people we know. They're people we love. You know, adults can tell you guys, and teachers can tell you, you guys have learned to let it go in one ear and right out the other. But you can tell each other. You'll listen to you. Same way my Stand for the Silent kids are doing. You can make this stop. Fact of the matter is, sugar, you're the only one that can make this stop. Be real. Your school can't stop bullying. They can't do it. They can help you. They can support you. But they can't stop it. Only you can. And I think maybe it's time that the young people in our world take a stand and show us adults the changes that we have to make, how we can do this, how we can get along. We need you guys. We need you to teach us how to make this happen. I know you're sitting there thinking, wow, pretty sad, depressing stuff, huh? Here's another little sad fact I've learned lately. In our world right now, in our world, every 7 seconds, a child is being beaten, neglected, humiliated, degraded, abused, picked on, bullied. In our world, every 7 seconds, a child is being bullied. Think about that a minute. In the time it took me to tell you that sentence, every 7 seconds, in our world, a child is being bullied. 2 of somebody's babies just got picked on. I'd like for you guys to maybe think about that number the next time you decide you want to participate in the act of being a bully. The fact of the matter is, I'd like for you to think about that number the next time you just stand around and you watch it happen to somebody else and you don't stick up for that person and make it stop. We got to get rid of that number. We have to make that number go completely away. You know, Laura and I have been working real hard in the state of Oklahoma this past year. We've been trying to get a new law passed, one that would help these kids, help the schools, make sure that this never happened again to another baby or another family. Oh, it's kind of ironic. On the 1-year anniversary of the day we buried our son, May 17th, our Oklahoma lawmakers decided that they were going to kill our bill. Yeah, one of them from the Tulsa district, she even went on the news and she said, you know what? We don't need new laws against bullying. All we need to do is learn to follow the golden rule. Treat others the way we want to be treated. Yeah, really? I had the same look on my face, I promise I did. I thought, are you kidding me? That was a lawmaker that said that. She said, we don't need new laws. All we need to do is learn to follow the golden rule. Treat others the way we want to be treated. A lawmaker. I don't know about you, but I'm standing here thinking, shame on you. Because if we don't need new laws, lady, why do we need lawmakers? She didn't make a whole lot of sense, did she? It's all right. They can kill our bill. Me and Laura, we decided we was going to go a little different route. We decided we was going to go federal. See, my Stand for the Silent Kid's been making a little bit of noise lately, Kathy. Alright, I just told a lie. My Stand for the Silent Kid's been making a whole lot of noise lately. They've been sending emails, making phone calls, writing letters. You want to know who they've been calling? Them baby's been calling the White House. And I guess they made a little bit too much noise. Because on March 6th, I got a phone call from this man at the White House. And he said, hey, can you shut them kids up? And I said, yeah, I can do that. So March 10th, my Stand for the Silent Kids got me invited to meet privately in a place called the Blue Room of the White House with First Lady and President Obama. For about 20 minutes before we attended the first ever conference held on bullying in the White House. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about these people in this picture right here with me, because I got to be real honest with you. Did not vote for that guy. I'm sorry, it didn't happen. I don't like politicians. Don't care a whole lot for attorneys much either, so if you are one, I apologize for that too. But those two people right there in that picture, they care about you. They care about every single one of you. Man, they made me believe that. And I'm here to tell you, I'm the kind of cat, I don't believe a whole lot anymore. Those two people right there are parents. They got two little girls in school, and they care about what happens to every single one of you. Did you see that old boy right there? Look at the way his ears poke straight out of the side of his head. And his name is Barack. That man was bullied his whole life. He told me so. And he cares very much about this issue we're talking about right here, right now. One of the reasons I know they care, they had 150 spots in this conference for people to attend. Man, they had senators and congressmen, real important dudes begging to come so they could hug our necks of us parents that have lost their babies to this, and they could send them pictures back to their voters and go, ooh, look, we care. And you know what? They didn't let them guys come. You know who they brought in? brought in the president of Facebook. They brought in the president of MTV. I got to meet him. He's a cool guy. They brought in the president of the Cartoon Network. They brought in these real smart guys from a place called MIT, help us figure out how we're going to stop cyberbullying. They brought in people from the U.S. Department of Justice, people that can and will do things to help us, help you make that stop. Federal government's coming, guys. The wheels turn, but they turn way too slow. And we're losing kids to this almost every single day. You know, last month, the month of February, in one state, my state, Oklahoma, we lost 9 kids to suicide because of being bullied. 9 kids in 1 month, in one state. Laura and I know of 17 around the nation in the month of February. That's just the ones we know about. And we got to make that stop. And we got that power. Right before that picture got took, man, I about got tackled by the Secret Service. It was cool. Man, you go to the White House, they put you through all these little security gizmos. When you're wearing blue jeans, they look everywhere. I thought I was safe. I'd been through all the little security gizmos, and I thought, hey, I'm good to go. Michelle Obama, she walked up to me, and she had tears running down her face. And she grabbed me, and she just hugged me and held on to me. Everything I thought that I was going to tell that lady just kind of went right out of my head. And all I could think of to say was, help our babies. She said, I will. And I reached into my coat pocket to get her one of these I Am Somebody wristbands. No, don't do that. There's no boy coming across the room at me. And he wasn't doing it slow and easy. He was coming now and he was reaching. And all I could think of was, oh man, this one's going to leave a mark. Michelle Obama, she stepped in between me and that old boy. She's a great big old tall woman. She looked me eye to eye. Man, she throwed an elbow up in his chest. She said, nah, he's okay. I was like, oh. So now Laura, she goes around telling everybody, not only does she out hunt me, she goes around telling them I was saved by a girl. Guys, the government's coming. They are going to pass new laws against bullying because Laura and I, we're not going to stop until that happens. And you know what? What good is it really going to do? I mean, think about it. We've got laws against robbing banks, don't we? Banks still getting robbed, ain't they? Got laws against murder. People still killing one another. We've got laws against a whole lot of things, don't we? Isn't really stopping a whole lot from happening, is it? So they are going to pass new laws against bullying, and bullying is still going to happen unless you and I decide right here, right now, we've had enough. We're going to get involved and make it stop. Man, we need you guys. We need you to help us make this stop. See, you guys got all this imagination. You got all this power as a community. These kids got all these ideas. I'll do questions here in a little bit, okay? They've got all this talent. And they're willing to fight for this. They're willing to make this change in our world. And they need you to back them up. They need you to have their back. And these guys make videos. I graduated in 1983, Mustang, Oklahoma High School. I could barely stack 2 rocks on top of each other and make them suckers stay there when I walked out of those doors. These guys make videos, and they're good ones. I met a little guy in a place called Soper, Oklahoma. Little bitty school out in the middle of nowhere. Kid's a high school senior. He's a rodeo clown, a bullfighter. A little guy lets bulls run over him on purpose. And he's wearing Stand for the Silent on his costume while it's happening. Trying to help spread the message that way. This group of girls in a place called Podo started a roller derby club. They're wearing SFTS stickers on their helmets. Trying to spread the message that way. Wausau, Nebraska's volleyball team. SFTS on the back of their jersey and on their socks. They painted their bodies blue. Trying to spread the message that way. Man, Laura got a phone call the other night from a little dude. And he said, "Ma'am, I built myself a racing lawnmower." What? A racing lawnmower? Man, I didn't even know you could do that. He said, "Yeah, I built me a racing lawnmower. I want to paint Stand for the Silent all over it. Help you spread your message that way." And that's what we need. Keep that awareness going out every single day. You know, you guys see these little wristbands we got. And on the front of them, they say, "I am somebody." And on the back of it, there's an SFTS. That's for Stand for the Silent. You see that heart around that TS? That heart belongs to Kirk Smalley. And the reason I know that I am somebody is because one little lady named Francie Moss, this little old guy named Coach Mack, 68 Upward Bounds kids, and a handful of my Stand for the Silent kids have taught me that I am somebody and that I can make a difference in this world. And I know that I am somebody because I'm here tonight and I'm talking to you. And you're listening. Not only are you listening, some of you guys are taking this message to heart. You're going to want to get involved. You're going to want to help me make this kind of thing stop in our world. You're going to want to help spread this around your schools, your communities, your churches, your groups. And that tells me that you are somebody. You decide you want to do that? You want to help me make this stop in our world? You want my help? Sugar, you holler. I'm there. I got your back. Those aren't just words I say. I live that. I prove it every single day. You try me. See, my wife and I, and we plan on fighting bullying forever. Because our baby, he's going to be 11 years old. Forever. Miss Moss, she was the director of the Upward Bounds kids that started the group called Stand for the Silent. she's got this saying that I really like. And if you guys don't remember a single other word I say up here tonight, I'd really like for you guys to remember this guy's words. He's a real smart man. His name was Edward Hale. He was a writer. And he said, I am only one. But still, I am one. And I can't do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I still will not refuse to do that something that I can do. Man, there's going to be very few times in your entire life when you truly have the opportunity to change the world you live in. To the extent that this movement of young people right here is going to change our world. We really want you to be a part of it. Wouldn't it be nice? 40, 50 years from now, be able to tell your babies, your grandbabies. When I was in school, there was this one kind of crazy man and a handful of kids called Stand for the Silence. They decided that they were going to take on the world and stop bullying. They came and they asked me to help. And I did. I changed our world. I am somebody. This is going to happen. I can promise you this is going to happen. There is no doubt in my mind that this is going to happen. You want to know why I can be so cocky? Why I can be so confident that this is going to happen? It's going to happen because 1 month and 7 days after my son took his own life, it was on Father's Day. And I made that boy right there a promise on that day. I promised Ty that I will stop bullying in our world. I don't break promises to my kid. I can't keep that promise. I can't keep my last promise to my baby. Sweetie, I can't do it alone. I need your help. I need you to help me keep a promise. I'm not asking you to do it for me. I'm not asking you to do it for Ty. He ain't being picked on anymore. Do it for your kids. Do it for your grandbabies. See, you never know. You just don't know. If you'd have come up to me 678 days ago and told me that my boy was going to kill himself because of being bullied, we'd been rolling around on this ground right here. You don't know. And if somebody would have stood up against this 678 days ago, my boy might still be here. Isn't it time? Isn't it? Talk to me. Isn't it time?
Yes.
That we make it stop? Guys, we have that kind of power. You and me, we have that kind of power. If we stick together, stand together, and just keep spreading this message that this kind of thing is not allowed to happen in our world anymore, we have that kind of power to change the world we live in. But I can't do it alone. I need your help. That's pretty much become Laura and I's message. It's become our mission. And what you guys do with it now is totally and completely up to you. My little mom always told me when I was a little kid growing up, she said, boy, you got three kinds of people in your world right now. You got those who wish for something to happen, you got those who make things happen, and you got those who sit around and wonder what just happened. Now, which one are you going to be? And we love you guys. Thanks for listening. We're going to play a little short video here that the Upward Bounds kids that started the group stand for the Silent Maid, and then we'll talk a little more, okay? We're real proud of this bunch of kids, so watch this, please.
Why you look so sad? Tears are in your eyes. Come on and come to me now. Don't be ashamed to cry. Let me see you through. 'Cause I've seen the dark side too. When the night falls on you, you don't know what to do. Nothing you confess could make me love you less. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. So, if you're mad, get mad. Don't hold it all inside. Come on and talk to me now. Hey, what you got to hide? I get angry too. Well, I'm a lot like you. When you're standing at the crossroads and don't know which path to choose, let me come along. 'Cause even if you're wrong, I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Take me into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert
Bunch of kids made that video. Everything you've seen tonight been done by a bunch of kids. The graphics on our t-shirts, on the little wristbands. That pledge that's supposed to come back up there by itself, but doesn't ever seem to happen. Right there was written by a bunch of kids. They got all this talent, all this imagination. What can you do to help these babies change this world? This young lady right here, her name was Brianna DeVry. She was 14 years old. She was from Australia. She liked to fish and surf, and she was real good at just about every sport there was. Brianna got bullied by a bunch of her closest friends on MySpace and Facebook. And at the age of 14, this little girl took her own life to escape that constant bullying. While that video was playing, her mom and daddy just tried to call me from Australia. And I want you guys to do me one quick favor. My phone bill's outrageous already because I talk to them all the time. I want you to tell them that you're going to help me fight bullying in our world for them. Out loud. Would you do that?
Yeah.
Hey, go, Mike.
Hey Brad, I've got to warn you, I've got about 200 people standing here listening to us right now. You just tried to call me and I'm doing an evening presentation in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I'm holding Brianna's picture and these people all want to tell you something real loud and real clear. And then I'll call you back when I get back to the hotel. Would you settle for that?
Yes, I would. Hi to all.
He said hi to all. Is Liz there?
No, she's not. She's upstairs with Pops.
Okay. You listen real close and I'll tell you, okay? And then I'll call you back later. Here they go. We love you.
We love you.
And we're going to fight bullying in this world.
We're going to fight bullying in this world.
You get that?
I did. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll call you when I get done with my presentation. I got to go, brother. I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you.
Sorry, had to do that. That man is awesome. All these people in this world that have lost their babies to this are fighting so hard for your kids. We don't do it for ours. We're going to in July to Australia to help these people get a chapter of Stand for the Silent started over there. They're going to fight it. What I'd like to do now, that pledge right there was written by a group of high school students. And after this is over, if you guys would like, you're welcome to have as many of these pledge cards as you want to take with you. On the front of them, they got our little hand sign, and they say, I am somebody's, SFTS, Stand for the Silent. They got our website on it. And on the back of them, they got those words right there. And if you mean it right here, if you mean it right now, you make sure you get you one of them cards and you put your name on it. You sign today's date on it. Then you keep that in your purse or in your wallet, or on your dresser mirror at home, on your locker at school, maybe on the dashboard of your pickup truck. Somewhere you'll remember to look at it every single day to remind you of the promise you're making yourself and everybody else in here right now. I'd like to read that pledge out loud now, and I'd like it a whole lot if you guys would repeat it with me. Will you do that? Yes. From this day forward, I promise to respect those around me, as well as respect myself. I am somebody, and I can make a difference. I can make another feel loved. I can be the helping hand that leads another back to a path of hope and aspiration. I will not stand silent as others try to spread hatred through my community. Instead, I pledge to lift up these victims and show them that their lives matter. I will be the change because I am somebody. You believe that?
Yes.
Do you really?
Yes.
Do you believe that you are somebody?
Yes.
Because I got news for you. Little sister, I believe in you. I believe in every single one of you. Man, you're what I got left to fight for. And I believe in you. Now, I need you to believe in you. Believe in yourself.
Yes.
Believe in each other. Bare minimum, let's have each other's back. And how hard is that? Not? What's it cost us? Nothing? A smile in the hallway, a friendly word to somebody? Letting somebody sit at our lunch table that doesn't ever have anybody to sit with? What's that cost you?
Nothing.
And yet you can be somebody's hero by doing it? You can change somebody's whole world? You guys get to looking for us on the computer tonight or on Facebook and all that. We're getting kind of hard to find because just about every school we go to starts its own chapter of Stand for the Silent. And then they steal our graphics. That's cool, we don't care. Use them. Just get the message out. But then they name their Facebook page Stand for the Silent. So now you get to doing a search on there and you find about 100 and some odd different pages, and man, it's confusing. Best way to find the right one, our page, is go to our website. It's on the front of the pledge card, standforthesilent.com. Lower left-hand corner of the home page is a link to Facebook. Click on it, it'll put you on our page, the right page, and then you'll just request to join and somebody will approve you. Pretty quick. All right? Brad probably beat me to it. Now, when you guys get on there, you're going to start sending me messages and you're going to ask me the same question. And guys, I type with one finger. And it's sore. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that one question that I'm going to get 150 individual messages about. You're going to see 3 little letters. LM, capital L. That all these kids and adults all over the world are using. Sometimes that's all they post on Facebook is LML. And you're going to say, dude, what's that mean? An 8th grade girl figured out how to text message our hand sign. Can you see it? It's a small letter L, small letter M, capital L. It looks just like it. See it? Yeah, it took me forever. She showed that to me and I was like, Chelsea, I don't get it. And she's like, dude, it's right there. And I'm like, honey, I don't see it. And she said, old man, are you? And I said, whoa. That's how smart our kids are, guys. They figure out how to text message a hand sign. Now, because of that one little 8th grade girl, that message has gone, LML has gone what they call viral. That young lady right there, her parents, Brad and Liz, they got it started over in Australia. Man, they're using it in Ireland, Wales, Haiti, Spain, South Africa. They're using it in Bangalore, India. They're using it up in Canada. And yeah, mister, they're even using it down in Texas. And trust me on this one, that's a whole other country down there. Because of one little 8th grade girl, LML has gone all over the world. It's not LOL, laughing out loud, anymore. It's LML. We love you. We got your back. We need your help to make this stop. Are you in? Yes. Are you?
Yes.
Let's get it done. Guys, there's a need for communication with our children. We don't talk to our kids anymore the way families used to talk to their kids. We don't eat dinner around our dinner tables anymore. We eat dinner in front of our television sets. We've got to start communicating with these babies. We've got to start listening. 1 out of 4 of them have a plan. That's a true figure. It's a fact. And we got the power to make that stop, but we got to start talking about it. We can't hide our heads in the sand anymore and think that it's going to go away if we just ignore it. Because it's not until we bring it out in the open and let them know that it's okay to have those thoughts, that you don't have to act them out. We can talk them out. I'll give you a quick example of that, and then I'll open it up to questions. This is an email that I got here a while back. It says, "Dear Mr. Smalley, please let me start by saying that I was deeply touched after hearing you talk at Wednesday at Oklahoma Health Academy. I'm a student there, but more importantly, I'm a mother of 2 beautiful teenage boys. After hearing what your precious Ty went through, it made me stop and think about my sons and how happy and healthy they seem. So I decided to talk to them and see if they had similar experiences away from home. It was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had to have. I had a very abusive childhood. I'd been molested by my stepfather over a period of several years, and after finally getting the courage to tell my mother, she refused to believe me and turned a blind eye. Seeing no other way out, I began trying to take my own life. Small things at first, different pill combinations and such. At the end of 2 long years, I'd finally had enough, so I came home, locked myself in the bathroom, took 3 dozen aspirin, and slit my wrists. I was found in time and taken to the hospital, but some wounds never heal. Over time, I've learned to block it out, and I never share my past with anyone. I certainly never planned to do so with my children. But I needed them to know that as a human, those feelings of hopelessness and pain, where normal, were not necessary. So I set them down and I told them about Ty. And then I told them about my childhood. And then I asked them the hardest question of all. Had they ever considered suicide, and did they have a plan? My 13-year-old said that he had thought of it when he was angry at me for making him clean his room, but he didn't have an active plan. My 16-year-old said he had considered it many times and had many plans, most of which involved hanging himself. Now, I wish I could tell you that it was because of bullies, but as I had to hear this awful truth from my baby's mouth, I owe it to him to be honest with you. My husband and I both grew up poor, and we've done everything to make sure that our children wanted for nothing. In striving to give them this, we've often exhausted our patience before coming home to our babies. More often than not, the words "not now," "I just need some peace and quiet," or "we'll talk later," are the first things out of our mouths. Well, what they hear was, "I don't have time for you. Your day is not important to me. And I don't want you around." Long story short, after much more talking, I ended up begging forgiveness from my children for being so blind to what they really needed. And the 4 of us made a pact to spend more time as a family and work on our communication. Afterward, my 16-year-old went to his room, and as he walked away, I could see the weight almost lift from his shoulders. And I asked him if he felt better, and my reward was the brightest smile I've seen in years. About 5 minutes later, he poked his head out of his room and he said, "Mama, I want to give you something." And he gave me the most precious gift I've ever received. He brought me the rope that he was planning to hang himself with. He'd been hiding it under his bed for over 6 months. As he handed it to me, he said, "Here, Mama, I don't need this anymore. I'll always be eternally grateful to you, Mr. Smalley. If I heard you speak, my baby would have been on your list one day. You saved my son's life. You saved our family. Thank you's hardly enough to say for what you've done. God bless." I don't read that to you to pat me on the back. I read that to you to show you the need to communicate with our kids, no matter how happy or healthy they seem. We got to learn to talk to them again. Guys, this is our fault. We've caused this. Society has brought this on to ourselves. You don't want to take the blame for it? Fine, I will. It's my fault. I did this. This is my own fault. Now I need your help to make it stop and to change it. I messed up, and I need your help to solve it. You know, we've raised a whole generation of kids with no empathy whatsoever. We've done that. Look at the video games they play. You get points for killing people? That's a good thing? Look at the cartoons they watch. South Park, little boy named Kenny. What happens to Kenny every single episode? He dies. Every episode. And he's back tomorrow? What's that teaching our babies? Life is cheap? Death ain't real? Death is real. Austin Halstead. This is a Nebraska baby. He was bullied by some of his closest friends. He took his own life December 18th, 2010. Death is real. This can touch you. It can touch your family. It can touch your community. And we got the power to make it stop. Lincoln's a big old city, boys. There ought to have been standing room only in here. We should have had them out in the hallway. It's up to you. You're a core group of people now that can make a difference right here. And it can start right here tonight. We start chapters to stand for the silent in these schools. It doesn't have to be a school-based chapter. You as a community can start a chapter to stand for the silent. It takes one adult to sponsor these kids and have their back. You as a group can start that right here, right now. It ain't limited to just babies. And it doesn't cost anything except love and respect for others. And being willing to help us spread this message and make this kind of thing stop in our world. You guys know who Lady Gaga is? I didn't. I listened to somebody named George Jones. Know who that is? All right. 6 weeks ago, I got a phone call. This person said, Mr. Smalley, my name is Lady Gaga. And I said, who? And she said, Lady Gaga. And I said, what can I do for you, Miss Gaga? And she said, I heard about what you and Laura have been doing, and she said, I want to help. She said, I started this big foundation. We're going to call it Born This Way. She said, I'm working with Harvard University. And she said, on February 29th, 2 weeks ago, I'm going to have this big event to kick it off up in Boston at Harvard, and I want you and Laura to come and help. And I said, okay, I can do that. Still didn't know who she was. And she said, after that, I want to try to travel to some of the schools later in the spring that you've been to, some of the communities that you've gone to later in the spring or early next fall, and I want to help them push their message as far and as wide as they want to push it. And I said, cool. So we hung up the phone, and Laura got on Expedia and bought us a set of plane tickets for February 29th to Boston. And then I asked her, I said, honey, who was that? I said, I don't know. I said, you reckon we could find out any information on her on the internet? So we Googled her. Do you know that woman wears meat for clothes? I ain't kidding you. Go home and Google it. She got a meat dress. Guys, those are the kind of people willing to help us. Met Oprah Winfrey while we were there too. I've got a picture of me and Gaga on the phone, and her security guy is really reaching for his pistol too. I got that effect on security personnel. I don't know what it is. I'll show it to you. I don't have it on my slideshow yet because I hadn't been home. We've been traveling nonstop, but I mean, he's scowling at me and reaching. For some reason, they don't like me like that. But, you guys know who a guy named Tiny Lister is? He's in a movie called Friday. His character name is Debo. Big black guy, bald-headed, got one eye looks at you and the other eye looking over here at somebody else. Met him out in L.A. this past week at an event with the LAPD, which, by the way, all the LA police department guys went out and got Stand for the Silent tattoos. A lot of them did. It was cool. Anybody want Tiny Lister's cell phone number? Holler at me. He wrote it down, gave it to me, okay? We can hook you up on him too. Guys, these kind of people are wanting to get involved. They want to help. You guys are in the presence of greatness tonight. You don't realize it. There's a really great set of people in this room right here that you don't even know. And I'm going to introduce you to them. I'm going to throw you under the bus, Heather. This lady right here's name is Heather Millard, and this is a teammate of hers named Kathy. And they work for an outfit called Serve Nebraska. And what Serve Nebraska has managed to do is they have partnered with Stand for the Silent. And through these women's efforts, the governor of the state of Nebraska has made a proclamation that April 20th is officially Serve Nebraska, Stand for the Silent Day. Now, here's what's really cool, and that is an official governor proclamation. These women talked, they got the gift of gab, obviously, okay? They got Oriental Trading Company to donate balloons. Now you guys have 340,000 kids in school in the state of Nebraska. They got 360,000 biodegradable balloons printed up, which you still got to give me some of them. And they say stand for the sign.
They got smiley faces.
They got smiley faces on them, okay? What's going to happen is, you got one of your big pledge cards with you? No? Okay. No, it's somewhere buried in my folder. They got another outfit that blew up our pledge cards to about this big. And they donated 360,000 of them. Any school, what we're trying to do is get every school in the state of Nebraska on April 20th. It won't cost them anything but a little bit of helium to fill them balloons, okay? All you got to do is contact this woman. Tell us how many kids are in your school. We'll send them to you. Shipping's free. UPS donated the shipping because FedEx wouldn't. UPS guys, FedEx. All right? Hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. All right? They'll send you the balloons and the pledge cards. And on April 20th, we're going to hold 7 seconds of silence for the silent victims of bullying. The school will all read the pledge out loud, sign their pledge cards, and release a balloon. And we want to do that across the entire state of Nebraska. Now, you got 340,000 kids here. So far, she's got 14,000 signed up, and we've only got a month to go. She's been doing this since January. We need your help to get the message out there. Get these schools all over the state involved. We can take this from right here in the heart of the country and get it going big. The Nebraska Cornhuskers are backing it. They did PSAs for it. Rex Burkhead, Caitlin. Hey, I mispronounced his name because I stutter a lot. Don't be bullying me. You think because I'm from Oklahoma that I don't like Nebraska. Let me tell you a little secret, sugar. I was born in Cambridge. I lived in Norfolk and York until I was about second grade, and then they transplanted me to Oklahoma, and I still bleed red. I got a sister that lives in Omaha, and I got one in Wayne still, too. Nebraska's home for this old boy. Guys, we can take this from right here in the heart of this country, and we can spread it from shore to shore. Nebraska can make a huge statement to the entire world. But we got to get this message out there and get these kids involved. We need your help doing that. They've been doing PSAs. We can't even get them on most of the TV channels, apparently. And it's free. Doesn't cost anything. And these kids want to do it. But the schools don't follow through with it. We need parents. We need adults to get involved and call these schools. All of them. Any of them you can find the phone number for. And tell them, we want you to do this. We want to make Nebraska an example for the rest of the world. For our world's babies. And we got that power. You and me got that kind of power. Let's do it. Are you in?
Yes.
Let's do this. I know a few of you guys have questions. How am I doing on time?
Fine.
We good? Okay. Sir, you had a question earlier.
Yes, I was wondering, you're a good talker. You're doing a good job. Second of all, I was wanting to know, I got one or two things I'd like to say. I've been bullied for 55 years in some form, way or another. I've had to use violence and fighting to get out of it. My kids are bullied, and I taught them that my way. I listened to them and communicated with them my whole life. I soon discovered one day when I came home, my youngest boy, even though he wasn't being bullied, because he could take care of all the bullies, he came across, he thought when Columbine came along, he wanted to do that here. Yes, I had to do something then, and I had to communicate with him. Communication is important.
Yes, sir.
I found that out. He was going to do that because he thought that was great. I said, "Are you being bullied?" He said, "No, Dad. I could kick all bullies. I learned he knows how to box. He knows how to do karate. I taught him a lot of that. He knows how to fist fight. He's a little bit bigger than I am." Well, anyway, I had to talk to him, and I was working a lot of overtime. I had to come up with a decision. I asked him, "What do you want me to do? You can't do this." You know, and I was trying to tell him right from wrong, religion, God, you don't want to do this. But it wasn't sinking in. I said, "What do you want me to do?" He says, "I want you to come home every day after work and sit with me." I said, "Sit with you?" "Yeah, because I usually got home 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, left to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I had to make a decision. I gave up all the overtime to come home.
Sir.
And I realized, coming home, staying with him, I cut it out.
Yes, sir.
I mean, this is 10 years ago, 10, 15, well, after I have to Columbine. He wanted to do that. My wife knows about it, I know about it, nobody else knows about it. I mean, we couldn't let that happen.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I was afraid of all the other people. I had to get him in line. Now, he's went to college, he's an engineer. But the thing of it is, you have to listen. Nobody listens. I've used violence all my life. I kicked all these guys' asses who bullied me. I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm emotional, but I didn't have to go through your experience. But if I wouldn't have listened, I would be branded a different person today.
Yes, sir. You know, Ty was bullied because he was the littlest kid in his class.
I was little too.
He was in 6th grade. He was a week from being out of 6th grade when he died. He was about the size of a 4th grader. And they'd shove him into lockers and they'd cram him into trash cans. And he hated that. But you can't make yourself grow. You can't be who you're not. And, you know, I got to be honest with you, I'd love to meet up with the bully that picked on my son's daddy. I wouldn't hurt a kid, but I might tear into his daddy, Heine.
I did that.
But you know what? Teaching these kids that violence is the only way is not the way. I've learned that. You know, if I walked up to you on the street and I smacked you upside the head, that's called assault. And yet, kids do that to each other all day, every day in these schools, and they get away with it. And we got to change that. You know, we got a zero tolerance policy in most of our schools. And what that is when I walk up to you and I'm picking on you relentlessly day after day after day after day, and you finally had enough and you reach up and you smack me back, we both get suspended. No questions asked. They don't care whose fault it was. They just, 3 days, you're gone. That's what happened to Ty. And we got to change that zero tolerance policy because it's not working. What do we want to raise? A whole society full of kids that are just passive? Let the bad guys take over? We got a right to defend ourselves. We got to look a little deeper instead of just saying no tolerance out the door. We got to change that too. We don't condone violence. We don't say that's the way. But you do have a right to defend yourself. You know, guys, Laura and I, we get all these messages from parents that keep saying our schools don't care about our children. You know what? If anybody in the world had the right to believe that our schools did not care about our kids, I think it would be the parents of these people right here. And I don't believe that, and neither do these people. Not for a minute. You don't become an educator in the state of Oklahoma or the state of Nebraska for the money. Please. Oklahoma's teachers are 48th in the nation for pay rate. They do it because they want to make a difference in young lives. And we've got to find a way to heal that gap between parents and schools. And you can't do it with anger. And you can't go in there yelling and screaming, "Protect my kid!" No matter how bad you want to do that. We've got to work with the schools. It's the only way we're going to make this happen. I've had 10 to 12 attorneys contact us. Ambulance chasers. That's another reason I don't like attorneys. saying, let's go after that school. Let's sue them. Man, we can get millions. Is that going to bring him back? No. And the first time I file a lawsuit against that school, I can't go talk to them babies anymore. What school in their right mind is going to bring me in and let me talk to these kids and change this world if I sue them? We've got to heal that gap between parents, communities, and schools and administrators. I'm not sitting here defending these administrators, trust me, because Ty's superintendent, 5 minutes? Yes, sir. Ty's superintendent went on the news channel the day after my son died. And he said, I've done a full and complete investigation into what happened to Ty, and we couldn't find any evidence of bullying. But to this day, they haven't contacted me or his mother or any of Ty's friends, because we're in constant communication with his friends still, and ask us what happened and why he did what he did. Now, how do you do a full and complete investigation into something of this magnitude without talking to the people that knew that kid the best? Maybe you need to watch an episode of CSI, learn how to do an investigation. I had this lady back here.
I was just wondering, you're kind of touching on it already, but I was just wondering if there has been anything done at the school where Ty went, because I'm just sitting here thinking there are other kids that are still getting bullied there, and you know, nobody ever wants to be in the same position that you and your family have been in.
Lauren, I get messages from parents in Perkins all the time saying, my kid's going through what your son went through. What do I do? What do I do? They've actually called it, started naming it the Ty situation. The little boy that picked on Ty was suspended for 3 days, the same as Ty was. Ty killed himself on a Thursday. There was no school Friday. It was actually a planned day off, a teacher's day or something. On Monday, they let the little bully come back to school. He didn't serve his suspension. And he walked up to a little girl in the hallway that was friends with Ty and said, you're the reason Ty killed himself. And she went home and tried to take her own life. And her parents found her in time. And the very first day of school, the following school year, that same little bully walked up to my boy's best friend and said, I took care of one of you. Now let me see what I can do about you. And the school has done nothing to change that situation. They hide their head in the sand and won't admit that there's a problem. And guys, I got news for you. There's a problem in every school. I've been to Soper, Oklahoma, which is in a little tin building out in the middle of a cow pasture, and they got this many kids, and they got bullying. And I've been to LA and talked to some of them tough inner city gangbanging kids, Latino kids that are tough as nails, and they got bullying. And I've been to New York City and Washington, D.C. and talked to kids up there, and they got bullying. Did a program at the National School for the Deaf in Gallaudet University, and they got bullying. And I've been all the way down to Texas and all the way up to North Dakota, and we've done them in Bangalore, India, and they've got bullying. It's everywhere. And we got to admit that we have a problem. It's just like alcohol. If you drink and you don't admit it, you can't fix it. We got to admit it. I had another lady back here first.
I'm parent that my daughter is being bullied. Started last year. She finally broke the silence, and so I did go to the school, and I've been pushing, and they've been kind of cooperating with me. I want to know what kind of legislation can be put in these schools so there can be curriculum for these children.
Yes, ma'am. One of the things we've really been pushing for since we couldn't get our law passed in the state of Oklahoma is a national law, a national mandate of some type that says the federal government comes down and says by this time, this date, whatever that date is, 2014, August 7th, whatever. Every state in the nation has to have a law against bullying that has bare minimum this, and this in it. Okay? Because we still got some states that don't even have a law against bullying. Oklahoma's is basically so gutless and nerveless and spineless and toothless that it might as well not even be a law. It basically states that all schools in the state of Oklahoma have to have a policy against bullying. How useless is that? We got a policy. We don't enforce it. We don't have to be proactive. We don't have to prevent anything. We don't have to train anybody. We don't have to bring light up on anything. We got a policy. It's in a file cabinet somewhere. One of the best laws in the nation right now that I've found is New Jersey. They've got a pretty stiff law against bullying. There's 3 things that's lacking that I would change if it was up to me, but it's one of the better ones. You guys can go to what's called bullypolice.com, and you can type in your state, click on it, and it'll tell you what your law is or any other state in the nation. You can look them all up on that. The lady that started that bully police, her name is Brenda High. She lost her son a long time ago. Kathy Mitchell, she's Brandon Swartwood's mama, the kid on the tractor here. She's been fighting this for 10 years, 11 now. Brandon took his own life from being bullied. He lived in Coweta, Oklahoma. All these kids. It can happen. It can happen to someone you know. We're required by law to send our kids to school and get an education. Why does that same law not require them to protect our kids the way we would at home? Those are changes that got to be made. But until we can get those pushed through and get people standing up in our legislatures and telling them that we got to put our baby's safety first, we got to set the example. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. Let's come together.